This is DNA Sports Talk, and we're live at Phillips Arena, also known as the Highlight Factory, as the Atlanta Hawks take on the Miami Heat in their final game between the Heat tonight. This is April the 12th, 2014, and the Hawks are in position to clinch the final seed for the A spot in the NBA East Division. They're 2 games up on the New York Knicks. But we want to take some time right now and talk to Duane Ferrell. He is the player relations and program manager for the Atlanta Hawks. So we want to get a little background about you before we start talking about basketball. What's your family background?
Born in Baltimore, Maryland. I have an older brother, younger brother. In Baltimore, it's pretty much where I learned the game of basketball. Everybody kind of know that area as a hotbed for just talent. You think of Carmelo Anthony coming out there, Reggie Williams and Muggsy Bogues and Dave Wingate, and you think about the Maryland teams and Georgia teams. So, I had a good upbringing. Parents and stuff like it did a tremendous job of just raising us to be respectful. And with that, I've carried that with me throughout my life.
Excellent. Now, let me ask you a quick question. What's your favorite food?
Like chicken.
All right, chicken. What's one of your hobbies?
I enjoy playing a little golf. I like to bowl, fish. I grew up as an outdoorsman. My dad, so I used to do a lot of little things out as far as hunting and things like that, recreational things. So I couldn't pinpoint just one thing that I like to do. I just like to just challenge myself with different things. But just leisurely, I like to just kind of sit around, maybe play some pool and just relax with my friends.
Okay. So what's your handicap in golf?
Man, I can't tell you that. That's we play. I can't do that.
Uh-oh, that sounds like a setup, doesn't it?
I could hit it pretty good.
Okay. What's one embarrassing moment that you had on or off the court?
Let's see, on the court. I had a concussion one time on the court, yeah. I shot free throws and don't remember shooting. Yeah, LaSalle Thompson played with Indiana Pacers. I was with the Atlanta Hawks coming off a screen. And he laid me out, man, and I was sitting flat on my butt on the ground and just didn't remember any of that. So that was kind of embarrassing, but funny at the same time because I just didn't remember anything. I didn't remember any of it.
Wow. Okay, so you came up in the Maryland area. Where did you go to college?
Georgia Tech, right here in Atlanta, from 84 through 88. At that particular time, Atlanta was a pretty popular area, popular place. Dominique was doing his thing over here with the Hawks, and the Georgia Tech team had just put together a string of rookie of the year players, and then Mark Price, Bruce Darrell, and myself. And then, so we had a string of them going right behind each other. And then my freshman year, we ended up winning an ACC tournament. So it was a really hot area as far as basketball back in the mid-'80s and early '90s.
Very good. So, of course, you started playing with the Hawks. Any other teams that you played with besides the Hawks professionally?
Even after 6 years with the Hawks, I was a free agent, signed with Indiana Pacers for 3 years under Coach Larry Brown, played with Reggie Miller, and everyone see the footage of Spike Lee, Reggie Miller choking them, saying that they choked while I was on that particular team. And from there, I was traded to Golden State Warriors. Myself and Eric Dampier were traded out to Golden State Warriors, and that's how Indiana got Chris Mullin. So that was the final year of my career was 2000. I retired in 2000.
That must be something to be traded for a Hall of Famer.
Hey, Hall of Famer, who you telling? Right. And they went on to do some amazing things with that particular ball club. So I had a great career, having the opportunity to play for Mike Fratello here in Atlanta, and then Larry Brown, and then you finish up with get Lenny Wilkins also thrown into that mix. So I had some Hall of Famer type guys that was working with me.
You couldn't have been coached by 3 of the best right there. How did you get so lucky?
Man, I mean, tell you, all different personalities. I think Mike Fratello, his preparation for the game, his knowledge, and they're able to draw up a play at the end of the game to get you a good shot was tremendous. Tactician, that's what I would think he is. And then you had Larry Brown, who just loved practice. He loved teaching and watching guys develop and learn the game of basketball. And then Lenny Wilkins was the thinker. I think he just thought the game a certain way. And as a player, he built a special relationship with all his players where he can get the best out of them. So I was lucky to have those guys as head coaches.
You were. Now, what is or who was one particular person that you hated going up against or enjoyed the rivalry of going up against, person or team?
I mean, I've always, I was the type of player, I was a role player coming off the bench. I was always responsible for guarding the best offensive players. So, it was always a challenge for me every night because I think at that time, the two guard and the small forward position was really, really, really strong at the time. But, I look at guarding Michael Jordan, Grant Hill, Glenn Rice, Mark Aguirre, those guys, Clyde Drexler. So it was some tremendous players that you had to guard every single night. And as a role player, your job was just to go out there and make them work and work hard. And you couldn't really look bad because no one expected you to do well, But for me, it was always ultimate challenges. I knew I wouldn't stop them, but the challenge was just to see if you could get them off their game just a little bit to slow them down.
What have you seen different in when you played in the game today, as far as the rules change or even in players?
I see, the influx of European players have definitely changed the game, where you see a lot of the game is being played a little bit different from when I played. It was a much more physical game, a lot more contact around the paint. You have guys who were real specialists at what they did. If they were a post player, that's what they were. They were tremendous post players. If there was a slasher, that's what they did. Well, I think what you have nowadays, they open up the floor a lot more. You have your 4s and your 5s able to knock down 3s, and they spread the floor open. So you see a lot more pick and roll. You see a lot more transition up and down the floor. The game is played a different way. The scoring is not as high, I think, as some of the scoring we had back in the day. But the floor is definitely open, spread open a little bit more. You see guys taking full advantage of that. I think the stats and stuff like that sometimes doesn't really reflect the way the game is being played. Yeah.
That's interesting that you mentioned that you scored more when you played. However, the rules tend to dictate that things are more open and more free-flowing. So how does that translate to less points?
Well, I think with us, the game was kind of up and down the floor until the final quarter. That's when everybody decided they want to play. But you really kind of just, these guys with their talent level and the skill set. I just think of today's game, who out here would be able to guard Karl Malone or Moses Malone. Well, I'm looking at some of the big guys we played. Charles Barkley. I'm just thinking about these talented athletes at that position and the size and strength that they had. And I'm thinking, how would they match up with some of these guys today? I'm like, well, I don't see it. So, if Elijah Wan was playing, how do you pay these guys? How do you compensate them, those type of players, if they were playing today? So, I just look at, but the game was up and down a lot. Wasn't a whole lot of defense until the final fourth quarter.
If there was one rule you could change in the NBA, what would it be?
To me, it's simple. It's not. Is it kind of funny? To me, I think the one rule that when you shoot, if you're shooting a ball and it gets stuck between the backboard and the rim, it should be the other team's ball. I don't believe, why should it be a jump ball? You shot the ball. Right. You put it up there and it got stuck.
Right. It's your fault, right?
It's your fault. You shot it, it's stuck. Why should that be a jump ball? I always thought that should always go to the other team.
Okay. So in your current role as player relations and program manager, what's a normal day like for you?
You always you're sitting around, you're mentoring these young men. So every day you have to be prepared for anything. What the conversation may be, you have to read body language, you have to listen to conversations between player to player, player to personnel. And my whole thing is making sure that they leave this game better than what it was when they came in here, prepare them for the game after this game. There's another game and it's called life and it's after this. So while you're here, maximize this time while you're here. Network as much as possible. Utilize the resources that you have within our organization and the league itself to take advantage of this opportunity, because it's a window, it is a small window of your life that will close soon. But the money that they make, the investment that they should be able to take advantage of this and to provide for their family for years to come. My goal is to try to make sure that I plug them into those resources, tap into that, find out their interests and things that they want to do, to start planting that seed now and before you're no longer in the league, and then you try to do it, and sometimes that becomes too late.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Duane. All right. Glad to have you here on DNA Sports Talk. And prediction for tonight?
Hawks by 3.
All right. That's what we're talking about. That's Duane Ferrell. He is the player relations and program manager for the Atlanta Hawks, and let's go Hawks. This is DNA Sports Talk signing off for tonight. Thank you.
We got to get cool up here, man.